Hey everyone, in this video I'll be going over how I did this pencil drawing of Sean Connery, and there are basically 4 stages, and I'll talk about each stage and then show a time lapse of the drawing. And the tools I use are 3 pencils, a 2H, an HB, which was a mechanical pencil, and a 6B. And those are basically the ones that I had, and then a kneaded eraser. But I feel like they worked out pretty well as far as like the value range. I don't have a pencil sharpener, so I feel like the 6B kind of could have been better, but yeah, it was okay. So yeah, let's start with stage 1. So during stage 1, we'll call it the basic sketch, and I basically used the Loomis method plus my own kind of way of drawing, but I'll put a link to I have a few videos about drawing the head, but I'll put a link to the one that pretty much shows in a more in-depth way how to do this. But the main idea here for me is to keep it loose, to make sure the proportions are correct, and to adjust the proportions at this stage where it doesn't really, there's not too much detail and it's easier to make adjustments. So by the time you get to stage 2, we're going to add details, and the difference between the first stage and stage 2 is that during stage 1 you want to keep the pencil lines light and keep the drawing pretty loose, start to solidify a bit of the likeness and like the details of the specific face that you're drawing without 100% committing to the drawing just yet, because you might have to make adjustments. And if you keep the drawing light, then you won't have to erase, which tends to overwork the picture if you have to do a lot of erasing. So yeah, by the time you get to this stage, again, before moving on, make whatever adjustments you need to make now, so that when you're adding details, you're not going to have to erase and overwork the picture. So now at stage 3, which I'm calling shading, the difference between stage 2 and 3 is that during stage 2, again, the basic drawing should be pretty good, meaning make any adjustments before shading, because once you get to the shading, then it's pretty much too late to do that kind of thing. You can adjust the shading, but not like the drawing very well. So during stage 2, I kept working on making any adjustments I need to. My basic drawing was pretty good, so really it was about picking out specific shapes that made it look like the reference picture, and starting to map out the values, which means which parts would be the darkest and the lightest. But in this stage, in stage 3, I'm going to focus on pushing the values so that the darks become darker and the mid-tone basically blend everything in, and then the highlights will be kind of the smaller areas. So at stage 4, I'm calling it final details, and some of my thoughts about this stage, which in some ways it's easy but also can be challenging, in that, for example, in his left eye in the picture there, like I ended up overworking that area, but it's okay. I'm not 100% happy with it. And when I look at the progress from stage 3 to 4, I can see where I kind of messed up, and then I had to go in and erase, and at that point the paper was starting to wear out, so I couldn't work on that area anymore. I mean, it's okay because it goes with the rest of the picture. But yeah, that's kind of the challenge, where if you add the final details, it can really make the picture come to life. This is where you really make it look like the person, and make the picture have like the polish and stuff. But the problem is that you can overwork it and also mess up the good drawing and the good progress that you had made in earlier stages. So if you go back to, it's almost like if you're starting out, if you're a beginner, if you can go back to where stage 3 is and see where it looked good but maybe not as polished, if you can get it to that point, like, you've done a pretty good job and you basically have a good drawing. But if you want to be more advanced with it, then I would add these final details.